Carnival of Lies by D.V. Bishop. Read by Mark Meadows. It is better to be adventurous than cautious, because fortune is a woman. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince. Translated by W. K. Marriott, 1908. Author's note. During this period, the new calendar year in Florence and Venice started during March. All the days in January and February 1540, as we would think of them now, were then considered to be part of 1539. Monday, February the 12th, 1539. The room around Aldo was murky, thin light seeping past the edges of battered wooden shutters in one wall. There was no furniture. There were no adornments to hint at where he might be. Something fast scuttled across the floor, keeping close to the far wall. A rat. It paused to stare at Aldo, nose twitching, before squeezing under the door and scampering away. He was lying on an uneven straw mattress, without blanket or bedsheets. His toes were cold, limbs stiff and sore. He could make out voices murmuring nearby. In the distance were cries of greeting, sharp calls which were familiar, but which he had not heard in years. Another noise sipped at the air, close and insistent, the lapping of water. He couldn't be here. Not again. Not now. Aldo struggled to his feet, legs protesting. He inhaled his own stale sweat. Sour fear mingled with the ripe smell of horse. His satchel was missing. Probably still. It all came back in a rush. Now he had to know, had to be sure. Aldo marched to the shutters, throwing them open. A gondola floated by on the canal outside. His worst fears were confirmed. He was in Venice. Palle! Chapter 1. Wednesday, February the 7th, 1539, 5 days earlier. Aldo was more intimate with the sights, sounds, and smells of a bordello than almost any man in Florence. The bored faces of the women who worked there were all too familiar to him, as were their feigned cries of ecstasy while pleasing a man, and the aromas that lingered long after the last visitor had come and gone. It was legal for women to sell sex in Florence, so long as they complied with the Office of Decency's regulations. The men who went to a bordello craved guilty pleasures and exciting sins. Aldo sought those elsewhere. His knowledge came from living at Signora Tessa Robustelli's bordello for the past 7 years. Aldo slept in a back room upstairs at the humble house south of the River Arno. The bordello gave him a place to rest and store his few belongings. Residing there also deflected questions about why Aldo was neither married nor a widower, despite having seen more than 40 summers. But it was a mutually beneficial arrangement. In return for his lodgings, Aldo helped Robustelli and her women with anyone who caused trouble at the bordello. Some visitors outstayed their welcome, such as drunkards unwilling or unable to leave. Other men were eager to inflict pain on the women, which Aldo and Robustelli abhorred. Lastly, there were those who came to offer protection from other criminals in return for coin. Aldo's residency had banished most of these threats. Tonight he was in a different bordello, one north of the river, near the Mercato Vecchio. It was run by Signorina Nardi, a woman with generous curves, dark ringlets, and a shrewd business mind. Where Robustelli's bordello was decorated in a simple and rustic style, Nardi favored lurid frescoes of naked bodies and lustful faces. Golden statues of nubile women writhed in recesses, while aromas of musk and sandalwood spiced the air. But behind all of these were the familiar sights, sounds, and smells of every bordello in the city. Aldo lounged in Nardi's ufficio,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?